What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller. Are you okay? Are you doing okay? I'm okay. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. I just wanted to check up on you because it sounds like everyone is collectively losing their minds right now after hearing that Seiko is discontinuing the Sarbo 17 Alpinist. Just a truly legendary watch, and I don't blame you, okay? I don't blame you for freaking out because just from my short interactions with you guys, it sounds like a lot of you have the Alpinist and love the watch, and then it sounds like a lot of you guys have been saving up for this watch, or it's on your list. You haven't yet gotten it, but you're looking forward to getting one. So what does this all mean? I understand hearing the news that Seiko is discontinuing such a watch may come as a disappointment, a bit of a shock to your system, and yeah, I've been getting so many DMs from you guys on Instagram over at The Simple Consultant. I've been getting a ton of messages here, a ton of comments here, asking me whether or not this news is real. Is it legit? What is happening? Is the world coming to an end? Well, I don't think the world is coming to an end, and maybe in this video we can kind of brainstorm as to why Seiko is discontinuing this watch and a couple others. We'll touch upon that later, and we'll talk about how I feel about this bit of news, and we'll finish the video up with what I think this means for the watch collecting community, the watch community as a whole. So yeah, why don't we get down to it? It's 12:27 a.m. Let's get down to business. Okay, guys, that's right. It's almost 12:30 a.m., midnight, and yeah, I usually try to make these videos at a more reasonable hour, and I try to get to bed at a more reasonable hour, but this has just been weighing on me, okay? I've been getting a ton of messages from you guys asking me about this, and I couldn't go to sleep. I could not go to sleep until I filmed this video. I want to get it down and out for you. I'm honored. I'm flattered. I don't quite understand it, but you guys have been asking me to make a statement about this, so yeah, I kind of wanted to gather my thoughts and make this video. And while we're talking about some big Seiko news, I figured now would be an appropriate time to introduce you to my new baby girl. This is Seiko. She's about 4 months old. I've had her for about 2 weeks now after Ari passed away. Link just needed a new friend, and he's such a good older brother, and this is his new baby sister. She's a sweetheart. Her name is Seiko. I had to name her after something I loved, and I figured Seiko would just be an awesome name. So little 4-month-old girl, and she's going to be making a lot of appearances in these videos. I think Link is running around, but if you hear some little critters running around, it's these guys being naughty. So I love you, and everybody say hi to Seiko Goodman. Okie dokie, so word on the street is that Seiko is officially in the process of halting all production on the Seiko Sarbo 17 Alpinist, along with the Sarbo 33, the Sarbo 35, and the SBDX 017. Now, this is creating a ton of hype, a ton of confusion within the watch community. You know, people are confused as to why Seiko would discontinue four seemingly popular watches. Now, there's a few theories being kicked around, and theory number one is that maybe these watches weren't as popular as we once thought, right? Maybe these watches didn't sell that well. Maybe Seiko is discontinuing these watches due to poor sales. Now, I'm gonna pretty confidently rule this theory out, right? I don't know about you, but everyone I follow on Instagram that's in the watch community, everyone I talk to that's in the watch community, all my brief interactions with you guys, just reading your guys' comments, sounds like everyone I know that's in the watch community owns at least one of the four watches that's being discontinued, and in my brief analysis, seems like these watches sold incredibly well. So them cutting these off due to poor sales, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm gonna rule that one out. Okay, theory number two is that Seiko is attempting to gouge their own consumer base. Here's why this one doesn't make sense. Okay, bottom line, Seiko doesn't stand to profit from gray market sales, right? So if Seiko discontinues these watches and a bunch of gray market sellers drastically up the price of these watches that are being discontinued, Seiko doesn't get a piece of that pie, right? So Seiko is not trying to gouge you by doing this. So if we're gonna assume that these four watches sold really well and Seiko isn't gonna profit from gray market sales, then why is Seiko discontinuing these watches? Well, in the short term, Seiko will experience kind of a spike in sales, right, from panic buyers. So it's going to be people that don't have an Alpinist that really want an Alpinist and they buy one directly from Seiko, but it's also going to be gray market sellers, right? People are going to fill their inventory up, they're going to fill their orders with people buying these watches, and then, you know, those people may take advantage of the discontinuation, and those people are going to gouge their own consumer base. And in the long run, by Seiko kind of cutting these watches off at the peak of their popularity, they've almost solidified the watch's celebrity status, right? Like Seiko knows, by discontinuing the Alpinist, people like me and you are going to talk about this. They're going to make videos about this. They're going to freak out about this. And guess what? By talking about this, by making all this hubbub, and I just said hubbub in a video, it is getting late. It's past my bedtime. By adding to all this hubbub, we are adding to Seiko's brand equity, and that's a very, very valuable thing for Seiko. Also, something to think about. The Sarbo 17 wasn't Seiko's first Alpinist, and guess what? I don't think it's going to be their last. Seiko wants to discontinue the Alpinist while it's at its peak popularity so that when they bring it back, people will be excited. And heck, I'm already excited for the next one. Not to mention, while the Sarbo 17 and the Sarbo 33 and the Sarbo 35 are gone, it's gonna kind of force people to move into their kind of higher end lines, right? They're definitely trying to push the Presage line onto us, and just pay attention to the Prospex line, okay? A lot of the people that own Seiko watches are going to look for those same Seiko watches, and the reference numbers won't be there. It's going to be a different reference number under the Prospex line, and guess what? It's going to be a bit more expensive. Sneaky, sneaky, Seiko. Okay, so now I kind of want to talk about how I feel about this. So at first, I gotta be honest, as with many of you, I was kind of bummed, right? I was bummed to hear that the very prolific Alpinist is being discontinued, because I know that a lot of people that don't have one still want one, and it was just kind of a bummer. I was like, oh, great, this is going to create a ton of panic buying, and people are going to take advantage of this, and it's just going to be really lame for the people who actually want one. And then, you know, it kind of made me really thankful that I do have one in my collection, and super thankful that my girlfriend got me one for my last birthday, my 28th birthday. It was just crazy perfect timing, right? It's a watch that I've always wanted but just never got myself, and she got me one, and then lo and behold, a few months later, it's being discontinued. So yeah, I definitely lucked out. It's easily one of my favorite watches. I'm super thankful for it, and I'm super thankful that I could share my love for this watch with you guys. So what does this mean for collectors? Well, as I alluded to earlier, as word gets out, we're definitely gonna see some gray market sellers and some private sellers taking advantage of this discontinuation. We're probably gonna be seeing some steady increasing in prices. We definitely saw that with the Sarbo 6.5 Cocktail Time when the Presage line came up. Yeah, I mean, you used to be able to find a Cocktail Time sometimes as low as $250. That sounds crazy nowadays, because now you'll see some for around $700, just ridiculous. So yeah, undoubtedly, you know, people are going to be taking advantage of this in order to make a buck. But here's the good news, okay? As messed up as this sounds, word hasn't gotten out totally yet, okay? Not everyone knows this watch is being discontinued, so now would be the time to get one if you wanted one. So yeah, if you don't have one and you want one, I would honestly try to get one sooner than later, because we're gonna be seeing an increase in price, and you always get those one or two dum-dums that hears that the watch is discontinued. Oh, the Alpinist is discontinued? I have one. I'm gonna sell it for $2,000. Okay, those won't ever sell. But what I do think is realistic is in the next couple months, we may see these Alpinists break the $500 mark. Sounds ridiculous. I definitely think it could happen though. Now, I have a link in my description. You can get a brand new Seiko Sarbo 17 Alpinist for well under $500. So please click that link, pick one up before the prices rise anymore. Do yourself a favor, you will not regret having this watch. Easily one of my favorite watches in my collection. And here's another bit of good news. The amount of inventory that a lot of sellers have of these watches hasn't really dried up yet, okay? We're still at the beginning of the discontinuation. With the Sarbo 6.5 Cocktail Time, we are starting to see actual scarcity, and the prices are reflecting that. But when it comes to Alpinists and the Sarbo 33s and the Sarbo 35s, these are still quite prevalent, so take advantage of that. buy these now so you don't have to panic buy later and pay, you know, top dollar. Again, use the link in my description, pick one up for well under $500. You will not regret it. So guys, just to reiterate, it is a bummer that these watches are being discontinued. I'm sad to see the Alpinist go, but don't freak out, okay? Do your part and find an Alpinist for a reasonable price. And guess what? The Alpinist is probably gonna come back in the future, and it may just be cooler than the Sarbo 17. I'm looking forward to that. All right, guys, well, I hope you kind of enjoyed this little, oh my God, it's almost a watch rant, isn't it? On a Monday? It's well past my bedtime. Oh my God, I'm starting to hallucinate. Anyway, guys, my 20,000 subscriber watch giveaway is still going on. Hey, Seiko, we were just talking about Seiko's. Where is she? She doesn't want to be on camera. Anyway, my 20,000 subscriber watch giveaway is still going on. I'm giving away a Vostok Amphibia and a GearBest.com watch toolkit. So click the link in my description below to enter that. Guys, just my way of saying thank you. You are awesome subscribers. And yeah, click that link to pick up an Alpinist while it's still under the $500 mark. Guys, if this is your first time joining me here on the Time Teller channel, I want to say welcome and thank you. And please click that subscribe button. It takes 1 second and it helps me out a ton. And while you're at it, you can click that little bell icon so you do not miss an episode of the Time Teller. There's just so much more awesome content on the way and you don't want to miss it. I'm telling you guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with other watch enthusiasts, other people that you think would enjoy this. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.